The girl looked like a shadow smudged across the brightness of the marble hall, thin, trembling, her clothes torn in a way that made even the polished floors seem ashamed to reflect her. She clutched a crumpled piece of paper in one hand, her knuckles scraped and dirty, her eyes sunken but steady. Everyone in the bank stared, but no one stepped forward. She walked slowly, every step stiff with exhaustion, until she stood before the gleaming counter where two wealthy businessmen were joking loudly with the teller. The taller one, a millionaire known more for his arrogance than his success, burst into laughter the moment he caught sight of her. But the girl didn't flinch. She simply raised her fragile hand, holding the paper like it was the last thread keeping her alive, and said in a soft, almost breaking voice, "I just want to see my balance. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and moments that can change a life forever, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world what humanity looks like." For a moment, the millionaire couldn't control himself. He laughed so hard that even the stern security guard at the entrance frowned. The other people in line stepped away from the girl as though her poverty might stain them. The teller looked uncomfortable, but trained politeness kept her still. The girl lowered her gaze, and her matted hair fell across her face, hiding the pain that flashed like lightning in her eyes. She didn't try to justify herself. She didn't try to defend her dignity. She simply held the paper a little higher, her fingers trembling around the worn edges. The millionaire wiped a tear from his eye from laughing so hard and leaned forward, joking loudly to the teller about how the girl might be checking a balance of 2 cents, or maybe 3 if she had gotten lucky. But when the teller hesitated to take the paper, the girl finally looked up. In her gaze was something heavy, something ancient. Not anger, not shame. Just a quiet kind of endurance that comes from surviving far too much, far too young. She placed the paper on the counter. It wasn't a deposit slip. It wasn't a withdrawal form. It was a simple passbook, old, almost falling apart at the spine, smudged with dirt and memories. The teller opened it, and her expression changed instantly. Her fingers paused mid-turn. Her eyes widened slightly, then more, until even the millionaire's smile began to fade as he noticed. The teller typed something into the computer. The screen loaded slowly, as if it understood the gravity of what it was about to reveal. And then it happened. The numbers appeared, long, large, and unmistakably real. The millionaire stopped laughing. The girl stood silently, her shoulders fragile and tense, as the teller's voice almost cracked when she read the balance. It was more money than most people in that hall had ever seen in a single account. More money than anyone expected a girl dressed in rags to possess. The hall went so quiet that even the distant footsteps echoed like thunder. The millionaire stepped back, his face draining of color. His smirk had vanished, replaced by disbelief. The other man beside him froze. Even the security guard took a step forward, as if drawn by something magnetic in the moment. But the girl didn't show surprise. She didn't gasp or smile at the number. She only nodded gently, as if she had carried the weight of that balance not in money, but in memories, memories that no one could see. As the teller printed the updated statement, the girl's eyes drifted across the hall. They weren't the eyes of someone who had just discovered fortune. They were eyes that had known hunger, Cold nights, empty streets, and the kind of loneliness that wraps around you like frost. She looked small in the vastness of the polished building, but something inside her radiated strength, a quiet, steady resilience shaped by something deeper than wealth. The millionaire finally found his voice, though it shook slightly when he asked her if the account was truly hers. The girl nodded again. She explained quietly, barely above a whisper, that it had belonged to her mother, who had worked tirelessly for years, saving every coin, every extra shift, every ounce of hope she could gather. She had told her daughter that one day, when she was older and needed help the most, she should take the old passbook to the bank. But her mother passed away before she ever revealed how much she had managed to save. The girl had come today because she had slept on the street for the third night in a row, her last bit of food gone, her strength fading. She had finally opened the small wooden box her mother left behind, thinking it might contain a blanket or maybe a note. Instead, she found the passbook. So she had walked miles to reach the bank, hungry, cold, and terrified, holding on to the only thing she had left of her mother. When the teller gently handed her the printed balance, the girl held it with both hands. Her fingers tightened around it as though it was more than paper. It was hope, security, a future her mother had painstakingly built for her, hidden beneath years of struggle. The millionaire looked away, ashamed. For the first time in years, he felt the sting of humility. He, who had mocked a child for being poor, now stood face to face with a truth he hadn't expected. Wealth has nothing to do with worth, and dignity has never belonged only to the powerful. The hall seemed different now, softer somehow. The girl walked out slowly, the paper held tight against her heart. She didn't look back, not even once. The world outside was still loud, still harsh, but she stepped into it with a strength she hadn't walked in with. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was rising. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support encourages us to continue sharing meaningful stories like this one. Before you go, comment below. Kindness matters.